Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
So today we'll discuss about tillage practices, seed sowing and conservation tillage. So last classes we have covered the effect of the climatic factor, especially the solar radiation, temperature, how they are influencing crop growth and development, and also we have discussed growth loss, how the response of crop growth or the yield towards input management, particularly the nutrients. So we'll discuss now the tillage operations, because when you go for the crop production, we need to have a tillage. Tillage we go for the seed sowing. So in this lecture, we'll discuss about the objective of tillage and its effect on soil physical properties, because that supports growth and development of the young seedlings. And then we can discuss the tillage types for better seed germinations and the establishment of seedling, because the tillage influence germination of the seeds, because it provides the optimum environment like moisture, temperature for the germination, and also initial establishment of seedling regarding the root growth, that is facilitated by the better tillage operations. And I will discuss about the seedbed preparation and the sowing technique, because how the type of seedbeds for the soil tillage operations, for the seedbed preparation and the different sowing technique. Then finally, we'll discuss a different type of tillage, like conservation tillage. So now this is gaining most priority in view of the sustainable agriculture. So how the conservation agriculture, resource conservation technique, so that can take priority, and there are many scientific understanding. So farmers are also adopting the conservation tillage to have a sustainable agriculture. These are the things you learn from today's lecture. So tillage, as you know, this is a mechanical manipulation of soil. We do tillage operation by some implements, so that gives ideal conditions for seed germination, seedling establishment, and growth of the crop. So when you sow the seeds, the germination means the coleoptile and plumule, that shoot portions that comes out. That's the primary germinations of the seeds. After germination, that can be done in the soil, that can be done, if you keep it in a petri dish in a controlled atmospheric conditions, the seed will germinate. And that environment is provided in the soil, so that germination, the emergence of coleoptile, the shoot portion comes from the seed, that is called seed germinations. Then what is establishment? After seed does germinate, the shoot portion comes out. That's the elongation of the shoot portion, and also root comes out. The initial establishment, that means the root portion, the extension of root system, the primary root systems, and the elongation of the coleoptile, the main stem, that gives the shoots of the crops. So that is known as emergence of seedling. As a seedling establishment, as seedling comes out of the soil, then the establishment phase. During that phase, because the young seedling, the soil should provide optimum environmental condition, the nutrient as well, initial nutrient for proper establishment of seedling. And finally, after that, following the growth of the crop, that depends upon the soil properties as well as your management. How do you manage the crop? Then that decides the growth and yield of the crop. So the initial seed germination and seedling establishment, they are regulated by types of tillage operations you are doing, the soil conditions. That regulate how the seedling emergence can take place, germination emergence can take place, depends upon. Of course, there is a seed nature is there. The seed, there may be the seed may not be better quality. If the seed quality is good, then the germinations and the establishment, that depends upon the seedbed preparation or the soil properties. The tillage you have that is most regulated by the tillage operations you have performed. So the purpose of tillage is to prepare seedbed, break weeds, insect and disease cycle, and incorporate at the bury the plant residues, incorporate fertilizers amendments, break surface crust, and texture plow plant or hard subsoil horizon. So these are one of the purpose of tillage, actually the objectives. This is one. So what is the break weeds means? The weeds are removed, they are cut during tillage operations. The weeds are removed and they are plowed back into the soils. And during the tillage operations, because that breaks the insect and disease cycle. If there is an insect, pest and disease in the soil borne, may be there. So during tillage, so that increases soil temperature, and because that happens, the reducing the pest cycle, and also the plant residue, the weed residue, they are incorporated in the soil, and through tillage, if you are going for fertilizer applications, they are well mixed in the soil, and that breaks surface crust. Crust means there are some crust formation. We will discuss afterwards. Crust means sealing. The soil surface becomes sealing, and that hampers or affects the emergence of the seedling. Seedling will not come out, will not able to come out, will not able to provide that much of force to come out of soil. If the soil is a crusting soil, means a cement layer is formed on the soil surface. So that's called crusting of soil. Through tillage, we can break the crust, and also you can fracture the plow pan or the hard subsoil, and also during the heavy machinery movement due to the tillage operations, there is a hard pan formation below the as a plow sole. The plowing depth may be 20 centimeter, 30 centimeter, and below that there may be a hard pan formation. With the hard pan formation, what happens? It restricts the downward movement of water. In that case, if there is a heavy rainfall, it may cause flooding, and that will affect the crop growth. At the same time, it also affects the root penetration to the deeper zones. So there is a need to break the hard pan. It may happen so in every 5 years or after 5 years interval. So you have to implement which can break the hard pan formation in the soil. So the purpose of tillage to lose the soil, that means to have a good tilth. What is tilth? Tilth is a physical condition of the soil where we have the equal proportion of capillary and non-capillary pores. Through tillage operations, we increase the soil porosity, decrease the ball density. At the same time, the distribution of capillary pores and non-capillary pores. Capillary pores which can hold water, non-capillary pores are the air-filled pores where water cannot be retained. The soil is a good soil if you have the equal percentage of the capillary and non-capillary pores. That because 50% capillary and 50% non-capillary pores. That's the proper air and the water, the equal of water and air. So that makes the exchange of air, the atmospheric air and soil air, the water, and that helps the better formation of root systems and the better root growth. So with this, the brief about tillage. So as we said, tillage, mechanical manipulation of soil. So we'll discuss the objectives of tillage. So that as I discussed, these are the objectives means adequate soil aerations for gaseous exchange between the seed and root zone. When we are sowing the seeds in the soils, so through tillage, we are increasing the soil porosity, we are decreasing the ball density of the soil definitely, and during this process, there is a proper exchange of air between the soil and the atmosphere, because the seed for the germination, it needs a good amount of aerations, and also it needs the proper temperature and proper moisture as well for the germination, and the emergence of the seedling, emergence of polypeptide shoot from the soil to the soil surface, that comes out the seedling establishment phase, that needs the aeration. Then adequate seed soil contact. If the seed soil contact is not proper, this seed may not germinate, because germination of the seeds that needs the proper moisture, and seed get moisture from the soil. If the seed remains in a hole where there are no soil, it doesn't come in a proper contact with the soil, only it comes in partial contact with the soil, it may not give a good germination. This seed may not get the proper moisture for germination. In that case, it needs a good seed and soil contact. In a non-crust state to permit the seedling emergence, as I discussed, there should not be any crusting soil. The soil should not be cemented. The surface soil should not be cemented. If the surface soil is cemented, the crust formation, then emergence of seedling gets affected. The seedling may not come out. The seed has to put the huge amount of force to come out of the soil, but that force the seedling may not be able to put that much of force. So there may be collapse of seedling. So the soil should be non-crusted. By the tillage operations, we break the crusting, we remove the crustings, that helps the proper emergence of seedling. Then a low density soil to permit root elongations and proliferation, as I discussed, because tillage that decreases soil ball density. So by decreasing ball density, soil becomes a porosity increases, that permit the root extensions and the root proliferations. An environment that provides adequate light to seedlings, because some seedlings they require light for their germinations, and that soil that provides the light for the germinations of the seedlings. A pest and pathogen free environment. Through tillage, we break the pest cycle or the insect cycle, so that provides a pest and pathogen free environment. mixing the upland manure and fertilizers in soil. So by tillage operation, there is proper mixing of fertilizers, because fertilizers should be well mixed in soil for the better use efficiency. Then removing the hard pans, if any. If there is any hard pan I discussed, or below the plough soils, so those hard pans should be removed. If you don't remove the hard pan, that creates a flooding in case of a heavy downpour. That flooding, the water get accumulated in the soil, that creates flooding situations, and it may also affect the root penetration or root growth below the deeper layers. So these are say why do go for tillage? These are known as objectives of tillage. We do tillage for this purpose, because proper the germinations and the establishment of the seedlings. After that, that provides the ideal conditions for the growth and development of the crop. Then how the tillage influence the soil physical properties that helps in crop growth and development. So tillage has, these are the effects on the pore space. As I discussed, the tillage increases porosity, because when soil is a good tilled, the capillary and non-capillary pores are in equal proportion. The tillage that has a good tilled soils, that increases porosity by tillage operations. And soil structure means there is proper structure. I know you will deal details with the soil technology classes, where you can discuss soil structure, soil texture. Soil texture is arrangement, the composition of the sand, silt, clay, as a percentage of sand, silt, clay as a soil texture. And soil structure is the arrangement of sand, silt, clay in the soil, that is soil structure. And different type of structures are there. For the crop production point of view, we prefer the crumby structure, and where the soil aggregates almost 1 to 5 millimeter size, that is favorable for growth of plants. So crumby structure that is developed, that depends upon the structure depends upon the tillage, what type of tillage you are doing, and the tillage you are doing what moisture content. If you till the soil at proper moisture content, you may have the good structure. Soil structure you can modify, but it's very difficult to change the soil texture. So to have a good structure of soil for the proper growth, good soil aggregate size around 1 to 5 millimeter, that can be formed if you are tilling the soil at proper right moisture content. Usually when you do tillage operations around very hard soil or very wet soil is not recommended for the tillage operations. That doesn't provide the proper structure for the growth and development of the seedling establishment. To have a proper structure, you should have the tillage at right soil moisture content. Usually recommend around 25 to 50% depletion of available soil moisture. We can go for the tillage operation. I hope the available soil moisture means this will be discussed in your I'll discuss later classes, because soil moisture available for the crop growth as the field capacity and wilting point. The moisture content between field capacity and wilting point, that is known as available soil moisture, that we'll discuss in later classes. But that is not the field capacity means when the all the micropores are filled with water, macropores are empty, they are the air filled pores. That is the point where the soil is at field capacity, soil moisture content. Saturation means the soil is filled with water. All the macropores and micropores are filled with water, that is saturation. After saturation, when the water from the macropores are drained out through gravitational flow, then soil reaches field capacity. At field capacity, only micropores or the capillary pores are filled with water. Non-capillary pores, that's the macropores, are only air filled pores. That is the point of field capacity. And at that point, the maximum water available for the crop uptake. That means that is the 100% water available for crop uptake at the field capacity. So after that, when the soil dries out through evaporation or transpiration loss of water, then a soil moisture reaches at wilting point, where the crop is unable to take water, because water is a very low amount of water present in soil at wilting points. So the crop dies, or that's the death of plant. So when you go for irrigation, we don't wait for the wilting point. At wilting point, no water available for the crop. The water available for the crop at wilting point is 0%, and water available for the crop at field capacity 100%. So water present at field capacity during field capacity and wilting point is known as the available soil moisture. Available soil moisture for the crop, the water present between field capacity and wilting point. And when the soil moisture is depleted around 25 to 50% of the available soil moisture, then we provide the initial tillage operations to have a proper structure for the growth and development of the crop. Usually we prefer the crumby type of structure, that is for better growth, and this will be discussed detail in your soil technology classes. Bulk density, I discussed because tillage that decreases bulk density and the soil water. Tillage improves the water holding capacity because tillage increases the water holding capacity of soil, rate of infiltration of water and hydraulic conductivity of soils. I hope you understand what is infiltration, isn't it? So, do you know what is infiltration? Any idea about infiltration? What is infiltration and percolation?
The process of seeping of water inside the soil is infiltration.
Good. And percolation? Percolation. Yeah, so infiltration is the initial entry of water into soil. This may be rainwater or irrigation water. The surface, if you see, if you go for irrigations or rain, the initial entry into the soil. And this infiltration, after the water enters into soil, then movement of soil within soil profile is known as percolation. The first entry of water into soil, that is infiltration. And after the water enter into soil, the movement of water inside soil, that is known as percolation. So what happens through tillage operations, as the soil becomes loose topsoil, so that increases, that facilitates the better infiltration of rainwater into the soil. So that is that is required, because if you do till, if you don't plow the land, suppose land, when land is a barren land, non-plowed land, and land is a plowed land. If you see, the plowed land is act as a water reservoir, as a recharge of groundwater. If you want to recharge groundwater, you need to go for as a tillage. So I'll discuss on and detail this one of course. The most tillage practices produce the roughness soil surface, depression in the surface, improve the water storage. So tillage we do, that's losses of water through reduces the loss of water through evaporation as well. And tillage practices leaves all parts of previous crop residue as surface mulch are most effective in controlling evaporation loss of water. Then also soil temperature, tillage creates soil temperature optimum for germination and the seedling establishment. So how the tillage act as a groundwater recharge, water reservoir, and also tillage increases the soil temperature. So sometimes we say you should go for the summer plowing. So summer plowing is recommended for the farmers to have summer plowing. That has a multiple advantage as a water storage, reduce loss of evaporations, increasing soil temperature. That decreases many pest and disease formations. Let me do some drawing here, then you will be able to understand. Non-plowed, non-tillage, and the till land. So, non-plowed land, the soils are not disturbed. Soils are kept intact. Once you do tillage operations, then soil becomes disturbed. So, soil particles get separated. So, the till land, this is a non-till land, because soil particles are there, but they are not disturbed. They are in uniform contact with each other. So, what will happen here to soil temperature, and what will happen here soil temperature? Suppose if you see there is the sunny day or the summer season, you till one land and other land you don't till. So what will happen to surface temperature here and here? In which condition there will be high soil temperature? Till land or this land, non-till land? Yeah.
Tillage land, obviously.
Yes. Tillage will increase soil temperature. What is the reason behind this? Why tillage? The question comes now. Ask,
Sir,
why tillage will
because
increase? Yeah.
yes, sir, because as we have done the tillage, so we have kind of increased the surface area, because now more number of particles are free to interact with sunlight, or uh, basically it increases the more surface area, and it can absorb more heat.
Yes, that is also one point. Any other? Any other reason? Yeah. So the other thing that now when there is a temperature here, if you see the non-disturbed soil. So if there is a temperature, so there is a good thermal conductivity here. Air is not is a bad conductor, but soil is a good conductor. So when there is a temperature on the surface, so this, because of connectivity in the soil particle, that creates a good thermal conductivity. So temperature we lose the temperature toward the bottom layer. such a good connection of thermal conductivity in this condition, but here the thermal conductivity breaks. There is no connection among the soil particles. So whenever temperature, we have the high temperature, that causes increasing soil temperature, no dissipation of temperature to the bottom layer. But here the soils are well connected, the non-disturbed soil, so there is a good thermal conductivity, but here there is no thermal conductivity as well. Of course, the high surface area receives more the temperature, definitely that's true, and at the same time, so there is a loss of thermal conductivity here, but there is a chain of thermal conductivity. So in this case, the temperature of the soil, in case of tilled soil, as a disturbed soil, will be much higher as compared to temperature of a non-tilled land. Okay. Would you get me? Yes, is it clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And the other thing, this soil, so that's why you go for the summer tillage. The farmers are advised to go for summer plowing. If you do tillage operation during summer, the temperature increases. Suppose the outside temperature, it definitely have to 2-3 degree higher in the soil temperature. So in that case, if there are any soil-borne insect, pest and disease are there, so they do get killed or they are destroyed through summer plowing because of rising temperature. And the other thing, this tillage operation that helps as a water storage. How? Because this increases the infiltration of water. By tillage, so there is a infiltration, means this is the infiltration, that's the water entry into soil. This is known as infiltration. Entry of water into soil. This is infiltration. And percolation is the movement of water inside soil, that is percolation. The initial entry of water into soil, infiltration, and percolation is the movement of water inside soil, that is percolation. Once you till the land, so there is an infiltration of water into soil increases. In that way, it acts as a water storage structure, in situ water storage, and that also helps in the groundwater recharge. If you don't till, in this case, what will happen here?
Water lodging.
There will be water lodging, water runoff will be more, because the water, if water doesn't enter inside, then it will cause runoff. So in this case, there will be more of water loss through runoff. That is your runoff loss. Runoff loss will be here, there will be more infiltration of rainwater, here will be runoff of rainwater. Runoff, so there will be loss of water, and water reaches the lakes or rivers, that water goes on loss. So in case to store the rainwater in the field, the field should be plowed. So farmers must plow the field immediately after harvest of the crop, so that if any rainwater is there, that water can be stored in the soil, and also that can recharge groundwater. There is a groundwater building. If you don't plow the land, so most of the water get lost as a runoff loss. So that's why the plowing is essential. If you do plowing immediately after harvest of the crop, if you delay, don't plow immediately after harvested crop, then farmers may not find it easy for plowing, because the soil becomes too hard, less because moisture lost through evaporation, and through very low moisture, which may not allow easy plowing. Then you need to again go for irrigation, which there may not be facility for irrigations for plowing the land. So plowing is essential immediately, soon after harvest of the crop, because the moisture at that time, the soil maybe moisture could be good enough for providing the plowing operation. If you delay, then moisture goes away as a evaporation loss, moisture loss, then it's very difficult for plowing. So this acts as a water storage, the tillage operations. At the same time, increases soil temperature, let's say, At the same time also, that minimizes evaporation loss of water. If you go for tillage operations, and not exactly I can say the normal tillage, if you make dust mulching, sometimes make dust mulching, if the topsoil becomes the dust mulching, then it can minimize the loss of water through evaporation. Evaporation loss of water can be checked because no the evaporation, there is no continue, because here there is a continuity. The capillary pores are continuous in this case. There is no break of capillary pores and water present in the capillary pores. So if capillary pores are continuous, then more water can be lost through evaporation. Here the capillary pores are broken. So there is no continuity of capillary pores. In this case, the water loss through evaporation also can be checked. The tillage is not fine tillage. Now, I cannot say that as a raw tillage. If tillage is fine tillage, so there is a dust mulching on the surface, then the capillary, the loss of water, the evaporation loss of water can be checked, because the capillary pores are broken here, because there is no continuity of water movement because of tillage. But here there is a continuity. As I say, capillary pores are continuous here. They have the continuity, but here there is no continuity because of the tillage operations. So doing tillage operation, that has multiple advantages. As you say, the physical properties, it decreases ball density, increases porosity, increases water holding capacity, increases soil temperature, and also minimizes runoff loss of water, and acts as storage structure as a in situ water storage, you can say. Also as a groundwater recharge can be possible, because if you all the fields after harvest, it can be plowed. The huge amount of rainfall which otherwise goes on for the runoff loss, that can be checked, and those rainfall can be utilized for recharging the groundwater. That is what say advantages of having the tillage operation. Any question from here?
Sir, you talked about fine tillage and rough tillage. So,
Yeah.
Which one is more effective?
Now, if you go for the initial plow, you don't go for the as a fine tillage, very fine tillage. You go for primate tillage, just opening the soils as a recharge. Groundwater must be stored. Sorry, rainwater must be stored. It can recharge the groundwater. And the fine tillage we made when in the inside crop, when you grow the crop, when we plant the crop or sow the seedlings, after the crop grows, we do a fine tillage as a intercultural operations. We do small tillage in the topsoil. In that way, you can protect the loss of water through evaporation. That can be checked. That we make hoe, small tillage operations, loosening of topsoil. That's it. If you lose the topsoil, so that's it, because what happens by losing topsoil, this is the continuity breaks here. The continuity of the chain of pores are there, that can be broken here. Broken here, the loss of water through evaporation can be checked. That is usually do when crop is in the field. When crop is planted, crop is field, we do intercultural operations, lose the soil, the inter-ore areas, so the evaporation loss of water can be checked.
Okay,
but
sir.
not as a primary tillage operation.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, any more question, please? Well, so this is about tillage. So we'll go to the again same document.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah, please go ahead.
How both temperature and water holding capacity can increase? If temperature increases, there is a chance of evaporation of water molecule.
Sorry, temperature increases?
There will be a chance of water molecule evaporation.
Not when there is a when you are going for the temperature increase, because of the soil, when you are going for summer plowing. Okay, the purpose of summer plowing is the soil, the making the soil open. Surface temperature increases. When you are going for tillage, the surface soil temperature increases because of the loosening of the top soil. That decreases the thermal conductivity. That increases surface temperature. And evaporations. How the evaporation loss can be checked? The purpose of summer plowing to increase the soil temperature. That is fine, and also recharge the water, groundwater. That means through rainfall, if there is any amount of rainfall, opening the soil, the water is more storage of water here. Other cases, what happens now, if you don't plow, there is runoff loss. The question comes when temperature increases, then evaporation, loss of water. Evaporation always that is confined to the surface soil. If you put the either you go for the tillage operations or don't till the land, right? Evaporation is confined to the surface soil. But if you see transpiration, that is confined to the bottom layer. But when you are going to the tilling the land, at least more and more water can be stored. We are allowing the rainwater as the infiltration, discharging groundwater, which is not possible through your normal non-plowed land. And evaporation is safe. Good tillage, take evaporation in case of no loosening the topsoil. In case of rain, there's some noise. Who was made? No noise coming from something. Okay, so evaporation you can check as I told when you grow the crops and crop has been planted, crop in the field, inter row areas we do the dust mulching type, loosening the topsoil. If you lose the topsoil, so that breaks the capillary, the continuity of the capillary movement of water from the bottom layer to the surface layers. That way you can check the evaporation loss of water. That is the purpose we do the normal the softening or the loosening of the topsoil. That is to check evaporation loss of water in the crop field. Okay, when there is a primary tillage we are doing, opening the land, that way when as you said that the temperature rise, there may be loss of water from surface. Yes, there will be loss of water from surface soil, definitely that will be high evaporation. But we are storing the rainwater. The purpose is more water is discharged to ground. We are storing more water in the bottom deeper layer, in the soil. Evaporation loss will be there from surface layers. That is fine. Did you get me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir,
Yes, please.
sir, how deeply do we tillage usually, and is it variable for different crops? The depth of tillage.
Yeah, depth of tillage usually for the field crops we go for 20 centimeter. Most of the field crops we go for 20 centimeter, and for no other crops like deep rooted crops we can go for 20 or maximum 30. You don't go beyond that one because the management root system effective root zone depth we can minimize most of the crops within 20 to 30, within 20 centimeter zone. So 20 to 30 centimeter, most tillage operation is confined to 20 to 30 centimeter. We don't go for deeper. And especially for the evaporation loss is concerned because we go for primary tillage for opening of the land. The purpose is this is not the final tillage. Only to provide a condition that is suitable for infiltration of rainwater, store the rainwater, then otherwise that goes on loss. If you till the land, just opening, initial opening of soil. This not we are not going for the seedbed preparation or no plan for the planting. That immediately after the opening, after the harvest of the crop, if you go for the opening of the land, at least we can store the rainwater. Otherwise, they go on loss, runoff loss to the we cannot retain the rainwater. So if you do that one, lot of rainwater can be utilized, can be stored in the soil, and we can help in the building the groundwater table, increasing the groundwater table. That's the purpose of having the tillage immediately after harvest. What type of tillage we'll do, we'll discuss now. Because now mostly tillage is confined to 20, maximum 30 centimeter. Don't go beyond 30 centimeter tillage.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So type of tillage for the different crops. So these are first as you said, primary tillage. Primary tillage is the opening of land, just to open the land after the harvest of the crop. Usually, when you go for the summer plowing, you go for primary tillage, simply opening the land. So plowing is done to open the hard soil and separate the top soil from the lower layer. So this includes inversion of soil, uprooting of weeds and stubbles. That is the purpose of primary tillage. When you go for the summer plowing, usually advised to go for the primary tillage. So time of plowing, so that the correct time of plowing depends upon moisture content. That's a too dry or the wet soil not plowed. If you too dry soil, that requires a huge draft, huge force requirement for plowing. And what will happen if you plow the soil is too wet? If very moist soil, if you plow, what will happen? Yeah. Plowing soil with high moisture content, what will happen there? there will be more and more cloud formation. The cloud size will be very high, and that is not a good structure for the proper germination of the seedling, and it is very difficult to break the cloud also afterwards. So that's what to have a better structure for the crop development growth and for the emergence of the germination of the seeds and emergence of seedling. You should plow the plowing should be proper. That should be around 25 to 50% depletion of available soil moisture as we are discussing. Then depth of plowing depends upon the root system of the crop. So number of plowing also depends upon soil type, with problem, and the crop residue. Heavy soil requires more plowing than the light soil. Deep plowing, the plowing depth is usually the shallow, maybe 5 to 6 centimeter, 15 to 20 centimeter for the medium deep, and 25 to 30 centimeter for deep plowing. We go around up to 30 centimeter plowing for most of the field crops. Deep plowing recommended for long duration and deep rooted crops only. Then we go for the subsoiling. Subsoiling means the hard pan. When the soil has hard pan, because the heavy use of machineries or the tillage implements, there is a formation of hard pan below the 25-30 centimeter zone at the plow soil. You can say below when you are plowing 25 centimeter, 20 to 30 centimeter below the plow soil, there is formation of hard pan because of heavy movement of the implements. To break the, it's essential to break the hard pan. If you don't break the hard pan, maybe 3 or 4 years interval, it may happen that that creates the waterlogging, flooding, waterlogging. So that's a subsoiler are there. That is only to break the hard pans. So these are not primary tillage implements. Either wooden plow, that's a desi plow when there are no tillage implements. Actually, the modern tillage implements, the farmers used to have their own way of plowing the land using the wooden plow. I think you might. I don't know whether you have seen. You can see also in Google. You can see wooden plow. The desi plow is a wooden plow. Then these are the all moldboard plows, tillage implements, are the disc plow and the subsoil plow. These are the primary tillage implements to open the land, open the soils, primary tillage. After primary tillage, that is not the tillage for the sowing of seeds. Seed is sown when there is a proper pulverization of soil. If you sow the seeds in doing primary tillage, seed may not germinate. Seed may not get the proper moisture, proper temperature for germinations. To have a proper moisture temperature, this should be well pulverized. There should be proper seed and soil contact. Primary tillage does not give proper seed and soil contact. To have a proper seed and soil contact, those cloud formation has been done at the primary tillage, that has to be pulverized. The soil has to be, the cloud has to be broken, that is through secondary tillage. So there is a lighter or the finer operation performed on soil after primary tillage called secondary tillage. Usually after primary tillage, you leave the land for few days, maybe depending upon the timing of as a planting or the sowing of the crop, it can leave 1 week, so that almost the temperature is maintained, and also most of the insect pest and disease weeds that also get killed during that process. Then you can go for the secondary tillage. That's a breaking of the soil clods and the pulverizing the soil. That is the secondary tillage. The implements are disc harrow, cultivator, blade harrow, that is used for the secondary tillage. So once you go for the primary and secondary tillage, then the soil is made the condition where you can go for seedbed preparations or the sowing of the seeds. That can be done after only primary and secondary tillage. So seedbed preparation, that's a depth of plant, the type of cultivation that you can see. So crops with larger seeds are not demanding the fine seedbed, and the seeds cereal of large seeds can establish well where aggregate size even up to 5 cm diameter. That means the larger seeds like corn, that doesn't require any fine seed bed, but the small seeds like mustard or barley or jute, they are very tiny seeds. For those seeds, the seed bed preparation is different from the corn. Corn, you can have aggregates up to 5 cm diameter, but small seeds like mustard seeds, very tiny seeds, you have the very micro aggregates, like very micro aggregates means maybe around 5 mm size aggregates are required for proper germinations and establishment of as a tiny seeds or very fine seeds, like I think mustard seed you might have seen, barley seeds also you might have seen, the very small seeds, or you can say jute seed also. I don't know whether you have seen jute seeds, same as mustard and barley. They are very, very small size seeds. For that, you need the finer size aggregates. So requirement of seedbed. What you require for the seedbed usually, a seedbed should provide essential condition for germinations and favorable environment for the emergence of the seedlings. That means there is a close contact between seed and soil for absorption of moisture by the seed for germination. Seed needs moisture for the swelling, imbibitions, and for germinations. So good contact can be, seed is very small size, then you need the finer aggregates, micro aggregates, so that can better contact between seed and soil. And seed is large size, then you can have the macro aggregates, because you go for finer aggregates, you are using the more energy is used for the tillage operation, so you do avoid to have to use that much of energy. If seed is of larger size, there is no point of having a finer texture, finer soil. Adequate aerations to meet the oxygen requirement of germinating seeds, so it should be around 20% for germination requirement, for oxygen requirement for germinations. Too deep and too shallow placement should be avoided. That means that because of deep sowing, food reserve may not be adequate for its growth onto the surface, and shallow sowing, soil may dry up too quickly to allow the seeds to absorb moisture. This is very important for sowing. So what depth you must sow these seeds? You are doing tillage operation up to 20 centimeter, 30 centimeter. Do you think that we can sow the seeds 30 centimeter? If you sow the seeds 30 centimeter, the seed may not germinate because of there will not, and seed also will not come out. Seed has to come out of the soil. The initial seedling, that is say as a coleoptile shoot portion, the first shoot portion, the initial seedling, the portion, the leaf portion has to come out of the soil, and if you are showing a very deep placement, and then the coleoptile portion, you say coleoptiles or the shoot portion, that leaf or the initial leaf that may not come out of soil, then there will be collapse of seedling. Seedling, the seeds should not be placed in deeper depth. Okay. In general, most of the field crops, the sowing depth is confined up to 5 to 6 centimeter depth. We sow around 6 centimeter, 2 inch, 3 inch depth. In general, most of the seeds we sowing is done around 6 centimeter, but not beyond 10 centimeter. Don't go for even 10 centimeters to beyond 10 centimeter. But depending, as a thumb rule, we can say the depth of sowing, that is around 2 times diameter or thickness of seed, depending upon the thickness of the seeds or the diameter of seeds. As a thumb rule, the depth of sowing should not be double or 2 times of the diameter of the seeds. If diameter is 1 centimeter, your sowing should be 2 centimeter depth. If diameter is 3 centimeter, the seed can be sown around 6 centimeter depth. We should not go beyond that, because the seed has to, the seedling has to come out from the soil. So in that case, it also that's true. If you sow very shallow depth, suppose 1 centimeter, 1 centimeter, what will happen? If you sow very shallow depth, because surface soils, the moisture is lost through evaporations. Moisture lost through deeper layers is less through evaporations. So if soil has less moisture and you are sowing the very shallow shallow depth, that is 1 centimeter, and the moisture is lost to evaporation, this seed may not germinate. And if you are going for too deep placement, though the seed may germinate, but seedling will not come out. So both are, either the shallow sowing or the deep sowing. Deep sowing is not recommended. Usually the moderate depth, around 5 to 6 centimeter depth recommended. But those are the fine seeds, they are the shallow sowing, like mustard seeds or the barley seeds and jute seeds, usually sown 1 centimeter. 1 centimeter, because if you sow for the deep, even 5 centimeter, the seedling will not able to come out, because very small seeds and their coleoptile length also very short, and that way seedling may not come out of the soils. So sowing depth is very important when you go for the sowing of the seeds. And this is one thing, soil trust and compaction. That is very important thing one should understand when you go for seed sowing. Soil trust, I discussed, and compaction. Many soils, there is a crust formation, the cementic layer formations on the surface soil. If that happens, then seedling may not come out, because when seedling, the ruptures, when seedling comes out of the soil after germinations, the seedling comes out of the soils, it needs to push the soil, so that seedling comes out. And while pushing the surface soil, if the surface soil is a crust formations like a cementing layers, then the seedling fails to put that much of force to come out of the soils, then there is a collapse of seedling or death of seedlings inside the soils. So this is a serious problem for not all soils, for few the specific type of soils which is subjected to frost formations. So this is the seedling emergence restricted, decreased porosity and air diffusion leads to restricted root growth. A light rains or irrigation will soften the crust because this soil can be managed. Suppose you see, you have sown the seeds and how the crust formation takes place. There are several reasons why crust formation takes place. No, this may be due to the physicals or chemicals or the biology reasons. So physical reasons mean if there is a high intensity rainfall. If intensity rainfall is very high, that causes crust formation because that breaks the soil clods and there is a splitting of the soil particle that clogs the pore spaces. That way it may cause the cementing layers. And the soil chemical properties. Some soil has low low organic matter content, and also the soil has high sodium content. Especially for salt, the salt content, the sodium content is very high. That causes dispersion of soil particle, clogging of pore spaces, and that causes a cementing layer if soil has a high sodium content. So those type of soils, to have a good germination, we should give a light irrigations after sowing, few days after sowing, when you feel that the seedling is able to come up, because it takes around 1 week for the seedling to come out of the soil. So during that period, if you give a light irrigation, the soil becomes soft. Or we go for the slow harrowing. Harrowing we don't recommend because during harrowing, suppose seedling is coming out, so seedling get damaged. So if you give a very light irrigation, the surface soil becomes soft, so the seedling may come out of the soil. This is what do for the crust formations. When there is a crust formation, either due to high intensity rainfall events, or the low clay contents, or the low organic matter content, and the high exchangeable sodium. If sodium content is high, in that case there is a crust formation, and then we can have a light irrigations to break the crust to make the soil soft, so that the seedling will come out. The compaction, soil compaction can be eliminated by crop rotation with soil building crops having the profuse root system. They have the deeper root systems. You have minimum tillage, or if you minimize tillage operations, then soil compaction of course can be checked. Application of organic matters and tilling the soil at ideal moisture content, and varying the depth of tillage from year to year, that can minimize the hard soil compaction formation. And this is our normal tillage operations. Then what is puddling? The puddling I discussed probably a little earlier class. Puddling means you are plowing. It's a normal tillage of plowing this land with at the soil moisture content, ideal moisture content around 20 to 50% depletion of available soil moisture. But the puddling, so you are plowing the land with the standing water. So you impound the field with the water, then go for plowing operation. So what will happen there? If the soil becomes very soft, when you go on ponding the field with water, the standing water, soil becomes very soft. And with the soft soil, you go for the puddling. Like the same thing happens in a beaker. You put some soil and stir the soil. That means all the soil particles gets dispersed. There is a dispersion of soil particle. That means in this case, what happens if you are plowing the land, the standing water, then you are destroying the soil structure. The soil structure gets completely destroyed, and there are dispersion of soil particles, sand, silt, clay, they all do get dispersed. And after certain period, the particle tries to settle down. So how they settle? Sand being the heaviest particle, that settles fast, followed by silt, and clay comes at the end. And the clay is the finest particle that clogs the pore space in the soil, and that during the puddling, that create an impervious layer in the around 20 to 30 centimeter depth in the soil zones as a plow soils, that creates an impervious layers, and due to that impervious layers, we are able to maintain standing water. And this puddling is only used for the only particular type of crop. Which crop? Which crop you go for puddling?
Rice, paddy crop.
Rice. Yeah. If you go for the rice transplanting, we do only puddling operation. We don't go for puddling for other crops. Only rice crop. When you go for transplanting means the nursery are sown in a nursery bed, and even seeds grown in the nursery, and that is uprooted from the nursery and planted in the main field. That's a puddling, where we go for the puddling. That is only for the rice crop. We do puddling because rice needs a water to maintain the standing water. We go for the puddling operation. So these are the normal tillage we do. Then we can the seed sowing, how to the different the methods of seed sowing,